What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another new show, or like a new show. It's not a transfer show. I will say that. I might touch on it a little bit during it, but it's like the transfer season's it's over for us. Besides maybe loaning out a few players, it's done. Out every single link. The Diarra one, like especially that one that was being pushed at all during context. 2 weeks ago, and it's actually not even a single word on that deal whatsoever after it was being pushed that much. And other than that, not much going on until Di Maria spoke, and I thought he had something very interesting to say. So we will go over that because that was a weird one last season. Before I do that, like and subscribe to the channel if you are new. And yeah, man, let's get straight into what Di Maria had to say. Okay, so as you know, um, so Di Maria left. Obviously, you know that, but the way he left was, to me, very, very, very strange, because it didn't add up at all. Before I go into what he had to say, I will start by saying that we should not give him a new deal. Like I agree with that, and I like Di Maria. I like Di Maria. I still like Di Maria as a player, but the way things are moving, the way the last season ended and whatsoever, you shouldn't have handed him a new deal. I agree with that part, because it wasn't a good season. Yeah, a few good moments, but overall, like every single player up front, basically, it was not good enough. It wasn't good enough. It was frustrating. Um, Name it. In a nutshell, it was okay. Now, I think everybody knew that he was close to signing a new deal. Like it was extremely close. Everybody was confident that it was gonna happen, and then after that Sevilla game away, boom, nothing happened. It's called off. And I remember I came on. I said it doesn't add up. It's strange. It's really really strange. And I said it's not Di Maria. It's the club who called it off. And he confirmed that it's the club. Like the club called it off. For what reason? I don't know. Because it's not because we're not in Europe. Because every single person on planet Earth knew we were getting kicked out of Europe by the Serie A, basically. If it wasn't the UEFA, everybody knew that. So I don't want to hear that excuse because it's not an option. Everybody knew what was going to happen. It was very obvious. They even said so that after the season, you got the points back, but after the season, we will look back. At that point, if anyone still thought we were getting our points back, you're just lying. And the club knew that very, very, extremely well. They agreed on a plea bargain because they knew in advance. They worked on that bargain way in advance, whatever, on that deal. So that's not an excuse. That's not an option. Not playing Europe because we knew what was going to happen. So that cannot be why that deal has been called off. But I came on and I said it's very strange that the deal has been called off when it's extremely close for a 1 year renewal. It was again. I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't know what happened. He spoke about it. I will read it out. He didn't give the details, but he hinted that the club lied. That's what he said. He said it's been a tough year for the club. I never really understood what happened during the season. I tried to uh, comprehend it, and fulfill my duty when it was my turn to play. I didn't play much, and in the end, I felt the consequences of it. I had several discussions with the executives because it wasn't what I had discussed with them and the coach before coming. The things that happen throughout the year make you realize that words don't hold much value. Now, I think two things he's pointing out here. One, I think he believes that he was promised to play in a different way, not the way we played. Because if you remember, we came on so many times and we're like, he's picking up the ball from our defenders basically, and he needs to run 60 meters with possession to break a game open, and that's not his game. Not at this stage of his career. It's just not. As you can see at the World Cup, we know what he's doing best. If you get him the ball close to the box, he's devastated. If you get him in open space, he's kind of unstoppable. But if you ask him to pick up the ball and do it all on your own. That's not gonna happen, you know. And I come on, and everybody on the channel, like, and in the comments said the same thing. Like, that's just not gonna work. So I am assuming he's hinting towards that. You know, the way we played, that's not what they kind of talked about before they signed that new deal. That second part, that words don't hold much value. I believe it's because of the contract. Now, I said it's okay to not hand him out. Excuse me, a contract extension. I get that. I'm with it. But if you're in talks and you're dead on to agree it, basically, because that was the report and that's what he's suggesting, you cannot say, now we're pulling out of that deal. You just cannot do that. I don't think that's fair, because we come on so many times when a player does the same thing and says, is joining us close, and then he says, no, I'm still not going to join, whatever, you know, like Berardi in the past. And we slate those players because, yeah, you cannot do that. So goes for the club. Like, you cannot do that. That's weird, and I still find it weird. I still don't get it. And that's what he's hinting towards, you know. He's saying, like, the club didn't held his word, you know, because that contract was done. Like, it was just, it needed to be signed, basically. And then it didn't happen. And I think he's very frustrated with it. I think he's very confused with it. Like, going off this interview, I believe he still doesn't really get it, because he wanted to stay, and it was the agreement that he was gonna stay. So it's a very confusing thing. Like, it's a very confusing thing. Like, did he play well? No, you know. But that was not. That's actually not really the point of the video, because I think we all knew that, and I think we all agree on that. You know. The point is that the club did something that I personally do not understand, and I didn't like the way they operated. You know, because if you are such in deep talks and you're such engaged into and committed to do it for another year, and then you blow it off completely after one game, that's not fair. That's not fair, because it's more than not playing Europe, you know, because that's like you don't go in that, like, if that's the case, then you hold these talks later on. You don't do it to that extent where you're like, yeah, you just need to sign that paper next week, and then you tear it apart, like, you throw it away. Like, you cannot do that, you know. That's very strange behavior, but that's what happened. And to be honest, like, contract talks within the club have been a very big issue, because like, just look at the Dybala one. Look at De Chilios getting a new deal. Like, these type of players, like Rabiot for 1 year, it's very confusing if you think long term. Rugani, who has offers according to Nikoshira from foreign clubs, you're giving him a new deal to spread the wage. What about not spreading the wage and just getting that wage off the books? What about that? You know, because you pushed him out of the club already in the past. So what's that all about? So contract negotiations within the club are very strange. Like, Chiesa's going into the season with 2 years left. 2 years left on his deal. Like, it's very confusing. You know, when it comes to contracts at this club, the last couple of years, it makes no sense. Alexandro kicking in that extension, like, you can name it. Like, the list goes on and on. It's very weird, but that needs to be resolved, and I'll give Giuntoli time to correct it. But when I hear that, you know, players like Rugani are getting a new deal, um, I'm very confused. I'm very confused. So let's see. Let's see what will happen in the future. But that's what Di Maria had to say, and I thought it was a bit, you know, telling in my opinion. But that's it for me. I will be live with a preview later today. So join me, because we play Bologna, and we need those 3 points again. Thanks, and see you later. Ciao.